And there we go. We are live. Alrighty. So I got the mic in a little bit different of a position to help me see the TV here and everything like that. This is not going to be like a formal video at all. This is basically we're just going to hang out and we're going to talk about stuff, talk about the game, all that type of stuff. Um, I will probably be going dark for a little while. I'll get to the comments in a moment. I will probably be going dark for a little while after today because I want to keep working on the project I'm working on for the Slavin video or the series of Slavin videos, I should say, because there will be at least 3, potentially 4 in this series. And then after that, I'm going to go on vacation. I'm probably going to unplug. I'm going to turn X off for like a week. I'm going to just, kind of purge myself of the whole internet and electronics thing for a little bit so I can come back to it because we're going to have a pretty busy off season and I have a guest already. All right. So let me add this guy in. This is my bro right here. What's up, dude?
What's up, man? How are you doing?
I'm doing good, buddy. How are you?
Doing just fine. Having a couple brewskis, but you know, don't work tomorrow, so
Yeah,
enjoying
I'm
it.
having those right now, but I'm
You
gonna
got a Bold
bust.
Rock on there?
No. This is a La Croix. It's a
Oh
sparkling
my
water. Now
God.
I will be having some Crown and Coke here in a little bit, but I'm gonna wait until the game actually
My
gets started.
mom
Like,
always says it's LaCroix, and I'm like, no.
no, it's La
French
Croix. It's
people call it
French.
La Croix. She's
Yeah.
like, whatever.
You know what's kind of fucked up?
What's that?
Leia Hextall is still annoying, even though I have the TV on mute.
She's always fucking
I,
annoying.
I get to hear caw 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 even without her fucking even without the goddamn sound on.
She's
Them.
pretty bad, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
dude. Hearing her call games made
do you
my fucking
remember
ears clear.
the San Jose game where she didn't know
Oh
what the
yeah,
fuck was
Stolars with a
going
little fist
on?
bump.
Oh my god, dude.
That was the
So
funniest shit I
bad.
ever saw.
It was bad.
It was
Emily
awful.
Kaplan does a really good job with
Mhm.
what she does, but have Leah Hextall, and that was a fucking diaper disaster.
It was a fucking nightmare. No, I was gonna go to work today and then I just called out of it because I'm like, the heat got to me over the weekend. I'm like, yeah, I'm not dealing with this shit. I'm
Man,
not
it's
gonna do that.
hot here. I think a couple of days ago, heat index went to 110. And my dog is 14, and I'm dog sitting for my cousin.
Mhm.
Their dog's 15. Like, that's dangerous, man.
Yeah, like when I took Frank out to walk him over the weekend, at one point
Frankie?
he actually just laid down and said, fuck it, I'm not doing this because his paws got too hot. And I said, you know what, bro? Like the little dog has pads. If you figure out how to use one of those, then we'll be fine. But now he's
What's
laying over here
Frankie
right.
doing?
He's laying over here. He's wiped out. We went out for a walk right before I started the stream, and it was still hot out there. So we just kind of came back inside, and we're just like, yeah, fuck
I
this.
got you.
So
I got you. Get it, man.
yeah, but yeah, if you're in here long enough, Sam Wallace said he should be with us sometime between 8:30 and 9, I believe he said.
Well, hit
Um,
me with some questions.
okay, well, let's see. I got to see what my boy here BTS has to say. Hello. And by the way, my dad is doing research on 3D decals. Thank you so much for that. So some of my first channel merch, I'm going to get helmet decals made, and I'm going to try to get the 3D style ones like they have on the NHL helmets because I've got the Canes one on my black one, but I'm fixing to retire that one. So, oh, there goes Frank.
It'll look nice in the penalty box.
Yeah, where I go to say hi to you guys. Oh, dude, that was one thing, and I wish I'd had the GoPro on last week. I poke checked this guy, right, which is like the only thing I'm really good at, and he just turns around, two hands the shit out of me. He says, "Don't fucking slash me." I'm like, "Bro, that's not slashing. I like fucking pull." He got pissed off because he couldn't get around me. He was just crying about it. That's all he knew how to do. But
Man, I'm going back to floorball Wednesday.
oh, you are. I want to come play that with you one day. I mean, I won't be any good at it, but
I mean, it's still, but they're having a tournament. The floorball community obviously has been around for a while. It's very popular in Finland, Sweden,
mm-hmm,
Czechoslovakia.
mm-hmm.
And I didn't sign up early enough to be in the tournament. But man, as a goalie, uh, compared to a regular goalie and a floorball goalie, it's so much different. However, when I started 3 years ago, it was I took everything from hockey on my knees, kicking to the right. And,
Hmm.
when I went to U.S. Nationals, I had to do acupuncture
Hmm.
because my knees and my hips just beaten down and had stuff going on, and I just never really picked it up again. But I'm gonna make a return after 2 years.
Hmm. Well,
So
one day I'll tell this story in more detail one day. But part of the reason that this channel exists is because I played in a beer league that was so poorly ran, I quit playing hockey for like 3 months.
yeah,
It was like, I know I've told you a little bit about it, but like it was so bad that I'm kind of like, all right, I'm going to find some other shit to do with my time. And then that's kind of how this channel got started. So it's, I wanted to find another way to be involved with the game because let me put it this way. I have my day job. I was working a
yeah,
second job at the time every other Saturday, sometimes every Saturday in the month.
right.
And you know, I live with my girlfriend. We had 2 dogs, so got to walk them, feed them, all that other stuff.
Hmm.
The most stressful thing in my life was playing in that stupid ass beer league because of the idiot that was running it. Um,
Yeah,
so like I legitimately just did not play for like 3 months, and that's like my favorite thing to do when I'm not working or doing this is skating. And I just decided I'm like, you know what, I don't want to fucking deal with that, so I quit doing it.
yeah,
Let's
man.
see.
I tried to do street hockey. I
Mm,
invested, $500 and
mhm,
getting pads and everything like that. And I was
mhm,
solid, but a lot of people don't realize, if, let's say, Igor Shosturkin or Connor Hellebuck or Freddie Anderson or Pyotr Kochetkov,
mhm.
doing it for 3 years like I did it, it takes a toll on
Yeah.
your knees.
Mhm,
And I invested that much money in street hockey, getting like official pads, and I was like, no. And floorball, I had soft knee pads and kicked out
mhm,
stuff like I was in hockey, and in our group that's been around for 30 years, they're celebrating it.
mhm.
And that wasn't normal. It was just regular form, and I'm getting ready to play Saturday against Sweden's national team,
Oh, cool.
um, Texas national team, but not like starting. There is a guy that has played. There are a couple of guys who has played for the United States in that tournament, and if you haven't heard of floorball, it's very popular in Europe. If you look
Mhm.
at it, it's a wiffle ball. It's a short stick, but I mean, these guys can. It's insane. So
Yeah.
I'll be
Floorball and
back.
rink hockey are both popular there.
Yeah, I'll be uh doing backup. A lot of those guys. I haven't been there in probably a year and a half, but a lot of these guys have emerged and been
Mhm.
playing, which I understand that they're starting. So I'm just kind of on standby, trying to get back into it. And again, I'm like 6'4", 220 pounds, so it's a little bit harder to move around these days.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I feel you on that. Like when I just got back to playing, it's like it took me a little bit to get going again, and like now I feel pretty good because I'm consistently skating. I'm going to the gym every day now. Um even though I was like sort of just I felt awful, I still forced myself to go today, so which is something I haven't done in years because normally I'm like if I don't feel good, I'm like, ah, fuck it, I'll go tomorrow, but I made sure that I went today. I actually was on the assault bike for a good 30 minutes even though I really did not
Dude,
feel
that
like
is
it.
the worst.
I love that thing. Like, I don't like doing it, but I love the results that you get in such a short amount of time. I see why the
Right,
hockey
right,
players like them
right.
because you do a 20-10 interval on the assault bike for like a good 30 minutes.
Hmm.
That's all the cardio you need for the day.
All right,
Mm,
so moving over from personal stuff, I know you're talking about Game 7. Just hit me with some questions. Don't mean to, be the
What was your original
director, but I'll be the producer.
Oh yeah, that's fine. What was your original prediction? Do you remember?
I remember thinking that Dallas was gonna win.
Hmm.
Uh,
No, I
but
mean
I
the
will
series.
say, in the beginning, I thought Florida
Mhm.
easily, but Connor McJesus was just on another level. And man, going into it, I think the Oilers are going to win 4-3 tonight.
Yeah. See, because when we did our little prediction right before the series started, I believe I said Florida in 7.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having a hard time sticking to that now because, like, when me and Sam were talking about it the other day on one of our shows,
Driscoll?
no, Wallace.
Oh, okay.
I think it was. I mean, I've done so many shows lately, but I believe I told him, I said, if Connor McDavid can take, or here was the two things I thought. If Edmonton can win one game 8-1, they can win 3 of them 2-1.
Absolutely.
And if Connor McDavid can have a 4-point game twice in a row, he can do it 2 more times. So, and he's basically taken over this series.
Yeah, I'll leave you one more thing, and then I got to go. Connor
Okay.
McDavid, best player in the league.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have a real chance. Leon Draisaitl, and the fact that they came back so much, it kind
Mm-hmm.
of shows their consistency.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is it. Florida
Mm-hmm.
has a lot better defense, but at the same time, they've been collapsing.
Mm-hmm.
And, Florida has had a great offense, but if you have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, I don't think you can prepare for that.
No,
So I appreciate you inviting me on the live stream, and we'll talk to you soon. Oilers
absolutely.
43.
Okay. And at any point you want to come back in, go ahead. I sent the
Absolutely,
link to all
man.
you
Take
guys. So,
care.
yeah, you too, bud.
Bye.
See ya. So that was another thing that I was discussing before with Sam. With Sam Wallace was I think that when it comes to Bobrovsky, for example, it seems like if he's off his game to the point of like not even being bad, but not being able to steal a game, if he's not like an absolute brick wall, the team in front of him can't get it done. I said that last season that the only reason the Panthers swept the Hurricanes and it wasn't the other way around was Bobrovsky, and the metrics back that up in every single way. Um, we're going to talk about that trade in a minute. Um, I I think Boston got this is just my first initial look at it before I really take the time to research it and think about it. But just on surface level, it looks like Boston got fleeced. I don't know if they were that desperate to move Allmark, but that was their biggest trade piece. I'm really, really surprised that that's all they got for him. I know he's on an expiring contract. Maybe he'd already expressed that he had no desire to stay in Boston, but I don't get that vibe because it seems like him and Swayman were on really good terms and they were really good buddies and everything. But maybe Olmark wants to go somewhere where he'll definitively be the starter, and in Ottawa he would be. The return is just not something I would expect for a relatively highly coveted goalie. So let's look at this trade. I'll tell you exactly what I think about it right now. So the Bruins received the 2024 first round pick, 25th overall. So that's the one being used this Friday. Jonas Korpisalo with 25% retained. Mark Kastelik, who is a forward. That's about all I know about him. I'm not going to pretend that I know anything past that. It's kind of like, I keep glancing over here to see if the game started, but it's kind of like, I don't know how to feel about this trade. I mean, it's an Atlantic Division trade, so it doesn't affect the Hurricanes a whole bunch anyway. With some of the other ones that they're talking about, like if I'm Washington, I understand why they wanted to get Darcy Kempfer out of town and bring in Pierre-Luc Dubois. Maybe Spencer Carberry can get him going, but Pierre-Luc Dubois has a history of just being a train wreck, and it seems like he just can't put everything together, and a lot of it comes to a lack of effort. That was the whole reason he got traded out of Columbus, but it's just at some point or another, it's like he's like Taylor. He's had more teams than Taylor Swift has had boyfriends at this point. So like, it's got to be his fucking fault. Like I can't see it being every single team that he goes to being the problem and him just not being a good fit. So if that's what Washington wants, they can have it. I mean, I sure as hell wouldn't want him in Carolina. And then not to mention there's still more stuff about Natchez and everything going on. Let's see. Nope, not started yet. Yeah, I keep glancing over at the TV to see if the game started. It's about to here in a minute. That is one place I want to go to a game eventually is Sunrise. I'm going to try to go either there or Tampa next season. That would be really cool, but this is going to be a really interesting game 7. This one went from being one of the most one-sided series that I've seen. Like not as one-sided as the one last year, where Florida crumbled like a fucking crouton the moment that Bobrovsky couldn't get it done for him. This one right here, it's like it went from being one of the most boring to one of the most interesting. It took it a little bit, though. Yeah, this is going to be some. Oh wow, World War II veteran. That's cool. I just want the Canes to make a trade. I like trades. Yeah, I would. I want to see something happen because so there's all these rumblings now that Pesce's going to New Jersey. Like I know a lot of people have been kind of down on Brett Pesce at times, myself included, but Pesce's also one of my favorite all-time Hurricanes. Like out of all my favorite defensemen that the Hurricanes have had, he's definitely in the top 5. And I'm just kind of like, he's not nearly as bad as people say that he is, but I don't feel like he's the exact same player that he used to be. And it's just like, I don't know. All right, so let's see. Okay, they're starting to do the anthem now. But yeah, so it's kind of like, I hate to see Pesce go, but we're not going to pay him what he wants in Carolina. So him going to New Jersey, that kind of makes sense because they need the defensive help and everything like that. Hey, here we go. There we go. What's up, buddy?
Doing well.
Oh, you got some more decorations up there.
Well, this is from a different. This is coming inside my own room. So.
Oh, okay. Because you usually do it out there in the living room on the the kitchen table. That's right. And Sam's in his room when he does his normally.
Yeah.
Okay,
well,
cool.
Sam's watching the game. I can hear the national anthem.
Okay. Yeah, I've got it turned on here too, but I don't have the sound on obviously, but so the 3 big things. One, there was, and I'm going to do something more extensive about this at some point or another. There's the Nikishin news where there was the interview with his agent and everything, and all signs now point to him coming to North America to play for us. I personally was never really worried about him not coming over. The reason being, I understand that the KHL and the NHL suspended the memorandum of understanding they had because they didn't have an actual contractual agreement in place to begin with. But it seems like it would be bad for business for both of them if they locked up the pipeline of players going to and from, too much. So I understand, like, I think that it was pretty much inevitable he was going to come over here. On top of that, if Russia gets to go back to the Olympics in 2025, they're going to want him to go ahead and start playing against NHL competition as soon as possible because he's going to be playing against pretty much all NHL players. If you're talking the United States, Canada, Finland, Sweden, those are completely filled out with NHL players. Czechia is mostly NHL players. Russia is mostly NHL players and high-end KHL players. And then Germany's got a few NHLers on there, for example. Slovakia has a few NHLers on there, for example. So he wants to be up against the best competition possible prior to that. What do you think?
Oh yeah, I agree. I also think too, like I think if you just look at put some realism into this. I mean, the National Hockey League is the most popular league in the world. So knowing that, I mean, I could see any Russian player coming over to the NHL. I remember there were even Russian players back in the early 2000s that would defect to North America to play in the NHL. So
that's kind of what Malkin did.
Malkin, yep, and had another Russian that played, I believe, for Buffalo. I can't remember.
I remember Fedorov basically. I mean, that was way before that, but like Fedorov basically had to defect too. Mogilny way back in the day. Yeah. And the way Mogilny defected was
Mogilny,
dangerous.
that was the name.
Yeah, Mogilny, yeah. Like him defecting was a story. Like that was some crazy stuff. But yeah, I wasn't really too worried about that. And then not to mention, it's like if he cares about making money, he's going to make more over here than he can ever make in Russia because the dollar is valued significantly higher than the ruble. They can't pay him the equivalent of a U.S. contract over there unless they really want to break the bank. And they just built a 21,000 seat arena that they have to pay for. So they've got to make up where they spent the money to build that. I was never worried about it personally. Now, here's what I want to know what you think about this. I think Boston got a little bit fleeced in this trade here. For those of you just joining us, the Boston Bruins received a 2024 first-round pick for this year, which is 25th overall they'll be using on Friday. Jonas Korpisalo at 25% retained. Mark Kastelik, who is a forward that I do not know much of anything about, in exchange for Linus Ullmark. I'm curious about this one. What do you think?
I think it shows from Boston that they know who their number one goalie is, and that's Jeremy Swayman. That's part of the reason why they made this trade.
Mm-hmm.
I think if they were actually looking for a number one goalie, we would have seen probably a bit more of a return, I think. But Ottawa, I mean, they did a good job, I think, in getting Olmark. They didn't have to give up a whole lot. I mean, yeah, you give up a first round pick, but it's in the mid-20s. So, I mean, I think Ottawa got the best player, but it makes sense for Boston because they have now a definitive number one goalie in Jeremy Swayman.
Yeah, and it's like I guess Olmark would have the starting job in Ottawa, wouldn't he?
Yes.
Now, so that's good. You have a definitive starter for Boston now, and Ottawa gets the starter they didn't have before. They're probably going to try and ink him to a contract pretty quick because he's expiring, if I remember correctly, next season.
Yep.
So they're probably going to try and get an extension done for him on July 1st so that they have a goalie going forward. But Olmark was way too good to be a backup goalie anyway, and there's not many goalies he'd back up. Jeremy Swayman's one of the best ones in the league. No more goalie hug in Boston.
Boston just wanted a goalie that can just play backup. That was pretty much it for them.
Someone you can throw in there for 25, 30 games that'll win you 16 or 17 of them, hopefully.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see what we got going on. Right? Do you have the game on too?
No, but I can hear it in the living room. Even
from where Sam's watching it
before. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was really nice of y'all letting me crash on the couch there so that I didn't have to get a hotel. Next time I'm going to get a hotel, though, because I'm going to try bringing my dog with me. And I think, like, Sam was just like, well, just let Frank stay up here with Penny. I'm like, no, they'll start playing around and destroy stuff. My dog gets rowdy. He don't look like it right now because he's laying over on his bed, but he's exhausted from the 10 minutes we were outside and getting baked in the sun.
He looks like me when I got back from work today.
Yeah. You know what? I kind of want Edmonton to win this just because of Warren Foegele and Derek Ryan. I mean, I love Stevie Lorentz too, but like Warren Foegele was one of my favorite players, especially like what he did to the Caps in the playoffs a few years ago.
Oh, he was the best for us when he
Yeah.
was playing for us. It was during that Washington series. He was great.
Yeah. No, that was remarkable. Like I loved him in that series. So I kind of he's one of those guys that can, score you an unexpected goal and be a difference maker. I would actually like to see him like get the game winner tonight.
Oh yeah, that'd be great for Foegele. I've always liked Fogel's game. But I'm still personally pulling for Florida just because I'm more indifferent about Edmonton than I am about Florida, and I like the idea of a Southern market team, which Carolina is definitely a Southern market team, win the Stanley Cup. Do I think they do it? Honestly, right now, I don't think they do, because I think all the momentum is just on Edmonton's side right now. So,
Oh, speaking of Foegele, he just got put in the box.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. I mean, which, it's like people say that Fogel's dirty, and I'm like, no, he's not dirty. He's just a fucking wrecking ball. Like, he does negligent shit sometimes, but he plays out of his fucking mind, and it gets him into trouble sometimes, but he's not dirty.
Yeah, and he showed that in that Washington series. That was one of the best series.
Of course. Here we go with this shit already. Hey, buddy. Good to see you. It's a good friend of mine right there. It's one of my best friends in the whole world, actually. But yeah, no, Fogel's not dirty. I don't care what's her name, the porn star that fucking went after him said.
I didn't know that happened.
There was I forget her name because she was in that industry, and she said some shit about like how she wanted him to get erectile dysfunction because he injured Oshie. Oshie injured himself because he can't fucking skate.
Dang. Okay.
Ooh. I'm gonna be really surprised if Stuart Skinner manages to best Sergei Bobrovsky in a damn goaltenders duel. That's gonna be something.
That is going to be something. And honestly, it made me wonder, like, you have Stuart Skinner, who is considered right now a cup finalist goalie. I mean, this is another goalie we did not expect. Just like
No.
Gaden Hill. Which, I mean, leads me to wonder, do the Canes think that they're okay with their goaltending just because of the unpredictableness of goaltending in this league?
Yeah, that's
My
another weird thing. It's so hard to predict now too. Like my buddy Steve that was on the when I did the live preview of like the Ranger series, the guy who was the Rangers fan, one of the things he talks about when it comes to goalies, and AB and Sam Driscoll would be more well versed in this than me, is like goalies are like becoming very he said he feels like they're becoming very linear in the way that they're taught, and that they all kind of look the same, play the same, have the same style and everything now. And me, I'm not really able to notice much of a difference. Like Kochekov kind of stands out because he's got that aggressive coming, really far out of the crease type of style. Like he's not like Tim Thomas aggressive when he challenges, but like he'll come out and he does it very decisively. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's to his it's not to his benefit and all that, but it's Derek Ryan's a really good story too. That guy really had to bust his ass to.
He was a great story, but I didn't see a top 6 player when we had him.
There's only one person on earth that thought that Derek Ryan was a top 6 player, and that was Bill Peters.
Dear God. I didn't, because I remember that line of Skinner, Derek Ryan, and Lee Stebniak. And I was like, dude, Skinner's carrying this line. He needs some help.
Yeah. Well, I'm still waiting to see if, like, by some magic chance, although I don't think it'll happen, if he did end up back here, I want to hear Griff and Sam have that discussion, like, immediately about, oh, Florida just scored. Carter Verhaeghe.
Oh, did someone score?
Yeah,
Carter
Verhaeghe
Sam
scored.
say yes. So
yeah, Carter Verhaeghe scored for Florida on the power play.
Wow. Maybe Florida does win this. There's Florida's gonna have more sense of an urgency, while momentum might be on Edmonton's side.
Yeah, because I'm kind of like you. I'm indifferent to who wins. It doesn't matter to me who wins. It doesn't. I don't hate either of these teams.
Now, if it was Edmonton versus the Rangers, Edmonton all the way.
Oh, I'd be Canadian for a week. I really would. Like I said, I'd be okay seeing Derek Ryan and Fogle win one, but I'd also like Stevie Lorenz holding up the cup. I'm good with that too.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. And you also have
Forsling.
Yep. E2 Luosterainen.
Yep.
Now, granted, both of those players were more Chicago Wolves property than Hurricanes property. But you also have Tuomo Ruutu, who's an assistant coach for Florida.
See, that's another thing that I would kind of be torn on cheering for Florida. Actually, I'm going to show you something real quick. Hold on. I'll be right back.
Oh, okay. So 1-0, Florida. Oh, you got a Ruutu jersey.
This was the first one I ever bought. I wanted to get an authentic, but I couldn't afford one because I was an E3 in the Navy at the time. I couldn't hack buying one, but this one's a replica, and yeah, this is one of my favorites here. If I've got another one of these that is an authentic. I haven't decided if I want to get his name on it again, or if I want to get I was thinking either maybe Jokinen or Pitkanen or someone like that, because you can send it off to EPS.
Jokinen. Oh,
yes,
love Jokinen.
UC Jokinen was definitely one of my favorite plays. I love the juice. That was one of my
favorite. My favorite all-time Hurricanes goal was the 0.2 second goal against New Jersey.
And then Marty Brodeur had that fucking meltdown after the fact. He's like bashing his stick up against the. That was the last.
So funny.
Those were the last games I saw before I left home, and then they didn't make the playoffs again until I had been out of the Navy for a year.
Maybe don't go into the Navy.
I at least shouldn't have done it twice, because that's basically what I did, because I re-enlisted. Oh, dude, that's so cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So he just said, Yanmark, I guess my TV's a little bit behind of whatever's going on here. Oh, holy shit. Woo-hoo, he roofed that one.
So it's 1-1.
It's 1-1, yeah. Matthias
Oh,
Janmark
wow.
just scored. He got on a breakaway and he went in there with some damn speed, man. That kid's got some fucking wheels.
Man,
See,
dude,
that's what I'm saying about
could totally-
Bobrovsky. If he's not stealing games for him, man, they're off in front of him when that happens.
They rely on him a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Kind of like
And when
I think the Rangers do with Shesterkin.
Yeah. You know, that's one thing I do like about Carolina. We're not totally dependent on like goaltending. I want us to improve in that position, but it's like we were about the same regardless of whether it was Anderson or Kochekov in net, and to a lesser degree Ronta and Spencer Martin. But Anthony, you're good, buddy. You know, you can say stuff, dude. Like if I get an advance, like I said, I have no emotional investment in this game. I don't care who wins or loses. I just don't want anybody to get hurt. I just want it to be a good game.
That's how I felt in the last game against Columbus, but of course Jesper Foss got hurt. So
yeah. Well, see, that's kind of like, you know, that's something that we can have that one day I want to have an extensive discussion with our whole group about. I think 82 games is too much. I really do. I think it needs to go down about maybe 8 to 10, not like drastically, but it's like the playoff picture is usually set for the most part by the end of February. You're talking about expanding and having more teams anyway. You know, it's like the league's going to be up to 34 before the end of the decade, if not 36. So, like, I think maybe you just shorten the season a little bit to the point where it's like you just play everybody twice, once home, once away, and then have the playoffs after that. I would be open to expanding the playoffs a little bit if it shortened the regular season, if there was more meaningful games. That's why if we had like a 34 team league and the 8th and the 9th seed in each conference had a 1-game play-in to decide who gets the last playoff spot, I'd be good with that, because that's 3 or 4 more teams that are playing meaningful games closer to the end of the season than there is now, probably. So, like, just something a little bit different, I would be totally cool with that. But I think 82 is too many. I mean, part of that comes from my gripe as a baseball fan, though, with 162. That's freaking ridiculous. Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
Like, why in the hell did they do that? I don't understand.
Well, the Players Association would vote in favor of that. The NHL, though, the owners and the GMs,
no, they won't,
because that's money.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I always where is Nature's ending up, boys? There's the way that the news has been going on about that. I'm just going to say there's 31 possibilities right now, I think. But like realistically speaking, Nashville kind of makes sense. Winnipeg kind of makes sense. Montreal kind of makes sense to me.
I'd rather do a team like Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle. Well, I mean, apparently there was a thing I saw on Reddit earlier, and I actually commented on the post that you made over there. There's a thing on Reddit.
So you knew that was me.
Yeah, I knew that was you. But I saw interesting topic here. Offer sheet. Tulski basically said we have the means to match it, so you can go ahead and sign your damn offer sheet if you want to. It's going to get matched. And, you know, that would be the worst thing Nate just could do for himself if he really wants to have control of his situation, because he can at least go to arbitration right now. If he signs an offer sheet, that's done.
Oh, yeah. And he does not want to play here anymore, from what I've heard. So
there was one other thing on Reddit where they were saying, where I was reading this thing that it was an interview he did over in Czechia, and they translated it over into English from the article. And he's saying that he wasn't happy with how he was deployed, which I kind of understand that. He wants to play center. He doesn't like playing wing because he feels like that he doesn't want to be relegated to half of the ice, and he wants to be able to make plays and do the things that he does best. Okay, I understand that. I can understand why someone who is as good as he is kind of annoyed about the way he's being deployed. But him saying he's not getting the minutes, that's just patently false. He's like fifth on the team.
I think there's some ego with Netchus. I personally do.
There might be, just because he's so good. Like, no one's doubting that. But, like, it's also like if he would have refined the defensive side of his game enough, Brendan Moore probably would have put him at center. He's got the speed to do it. Yeah.
He would have. It's just, I mean, do I think he's gotten a lot better this past season than he was the previous season with his puck handling skills? Yes. But still, the way he plays, he's a roller coaster of a player, and you can't have that at center.
No, that's why it's like I wouldn't be opposed to Jarvis being there if we added another wing to go with Aho
Exactly.
and hopefully Jake Gensel and Svechnikov. Jarvis, I don't mind the fact that he's on the smaller side and playing wing. We also have to consider he might not be done growing yet. I grew until I was 25. For all we know, Jarvis can gain a couple of inches yet. And size doesn't really affect the way that he plays because he plays like he's 6'3" anyway. And he actually uses the fact he's a little bit shorter to help him with body contact because he uses his low center of gravity to separate guys from the puck. He's really good at that, particularly below the goal line in the offensive zone. Like, he is really good at that. But he's defensively responsible, henceforth the finishing 8th in the Selke voting. I think that there's a higher likeliness that Rod would try him there than there ever was of him trying Natchez there. I personally want to see that experiment unless we go out and get another 2C, but I don't know who the hell we'd go get. I really don't.
The market's thin right now. I mean, you have Lindholm and maybe Duchesne. I say maybe because it seems like he wants to re-sign in Dallas. So
Lindholm would be my first choice, but it's like, are we going to throw the money at him that we need to? Like, that's where I'm curious about it because you're going to have to pay him.
Yeah. Now, you know what I would do, and I kind of thought about this yesterday. I had some free time. I did some armchair GMing, and I was like, you know, if you were to trade Natchez, and if you trade him to a team like Seattle, their first round pick plus Jared McCann. Jared McCann can get you around 60 to 70 points. He's played center.
That's true. So, that's a good one. I didn't even think about him. I hope Washington. No way we trade him within the division. I highly doubt that. If we trade him in the Eastern Conference, it's going to be if we were to trade him in the division, the only team I could see us trading him to is maybe Columbus. That's the only and an outside chance if Travis Konechny is involved in the return, maybe to Philadelphia. But I don't see any way we trade him in the division. And Kane's going after Rutger McGroarty. I would be totally fine with him being here. I just don't see how that would happen. That would have to be a very, very large. That would have to be at least a 3-piece deal on both sides. I don't see that happening.
Yeah, and I also strongly believe too that whatever you do with Gensel, like let's say you sign Gensel, then you don't have to worry so much about the return on Natchez.
Yeah.
That's how
No, you're absolutely right about that because it's like if Gensel walks, then at that point it becomes a little bit more paramount to get a good return for Natchez or keep him, one of the two. Because here's the thing, Martinook's going to stay. I'm not worried about that. I think it's just a matter of time. They're waiting to see like who lines up where and how much money is left over, and then they're going to give him as much as they possibly can. And they'll probably give him a good 2-3 years worth of term. Totally fine with that. Nason, I think, is going to test the market because he's not going to sign an 8-year deal anywhere. So he might as well go see the market and see how much money in term he can get. Because we're not going to sign him for 8. And if he goes to the market, the max he can sign for is 7. No one's going to sign him for that long. At most, I can see him getting is 4 somewhere. Teravainen, I think, will end up staying just because of attrition otherwise. I can see that happening.
I see him staying just because Gensel leaves.
Yeah, that's another thing. And then, like, the one good thing about that is I know him and Aho are not the 5-on-5 powerhouse together they used to be, but they're still good together in special teams. They can still kill penalties together. They're good on the power play together. And, you know, it's like Teuvo Teravainen, it's like, if you have a choice. Oh, sorry about that. Go ahead.
He is cheaper.
He is much cheaper. And if I have a choice between having Teuvo Teravainen in my bottom 6 and having someone else there, there's not many players ahead of him on that list of guys I would put in my bottom 6. And one of them is Steph Nason, and he might stay anyway. So, but yeah, I don't know if Rutger McGroarty would come here. I mean, if I could get anybody from Winnipeg, obviously it would be Ehlers and my second choice there if we could bring Nino back. But I think he likes it there. That's why he signed there.
Yeah. But I mean, also you have to remember too, we have like $26 million in cap. If you sign Gensel, you're probably going to have to sacrifice depth.
Yeah.
If you don't get Gensel, and if you don't get a star player in general like Gensel, then you'll probably have the depth, but not the star player. So we'll see how Carolina goes. Again, it's very open-ended.
Well, I'm
It could
cool
go
with
either
letting
way.
some depth players go because then the kids are going to scrap really hard to try and make the lineup. Unger Sorum and Nadeau and Blake and all them, they're going to like work that much harder because they'll know that they might have a spot. So, and those guys could, but Nadeau could really, really be a difference maker for us because we lack the scoring and Nadeau's a sniper. Like
Yes,
he's a
and I
pure
think he
sniper.
can. I think he makes the team. To be honest, out of all three, I
Yeah.
mean, basically because you signed him to an entry level contract 1 year after he gets drafted.
Mhm. Yeah,
You obviously see something else.
Yeah, and then Unger Sorum, I think the only way he would make and I'm not saying that he's not good enough. The most indicative thing of him making the team is if Teravainen's here or not. If Teravainen's not here, then I think that increases his likeliness of making the team because he's basically is another Teravainen. So that would be the only other reason I think that he would make it. But it'd also be good for him to adapt to the North American game because he's been playing overseas. So he needs to learn to play on the smaller ice and everything like that. But the kid's good.
Yeah, I think he's good too. He impressed during preseason. It's just from what I've heard from scouting reports, he isn't as high as the Nikishins and the Nadeaus.
Yeah, I can't wait for Nikishin. And now that we know definitively he's going to be coming over here, I'm really looking forward to that.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'm going to get his sweater on day one, especially if he has the same number that he has in SKA because he wears 21 and that's my favorite number. So it's like I was waiting for an excuse to get that number because I never got around to getting a Nina Ryder sweater. So I got a Derek Step on one on my my reverse retro. I never wore it again, though, because the first time I wore it, and the only time I wore it, and probably the only time I will ever wear it, Svechnikov tore his ACL. So I never wore it again.
Yeah, I have a few jerseys in there, but a couple of them are Teravainen and Natchez. They could leave, especially Natchez does leave. But if he does, I'm actually thinking because he's going to get a long-term contract with us, I believe it. Seth Jarvis.
Yeah, my dad, I actually he's got a Jarvis one now, and I got him. So he really loved the White Whaler one, so I got him one of those with Svechnikov on it. And then he's actually like his very first one, the first Hurricane sweater that was ever in the family, he got from Sports Authority. It was Sammy Kapanen, the white one. Love that one.
Man, I can't remember. One of my first ones was probably, I think, Cam Ward. And the second one was Yuri Talusti.
Yuri Talusti.
I love Talusti playing
too.
with Stahl and Alex Semin. I thought that was a good line.
If Rutherford had just traded some people, got some assets, and rebuilt the team, he had a good core to build around if he'd managed it a little bit better. But him trying to milk the 09 team, that killed us.
And Francis sort of had to go through a rebuild. I say sort of because he never really went for the first, second, or third picks. It was always 5, 7, or 12. So, how can you rebuild when you're in that position?
Constantly help Chicago stay under the cap by taking their damn bottom 6 forwards from them and shit.
Well, I'll give props to Ron Francis. He was able to pry Teravainen out of Chicago, and look at what he's done with us.
Yeah, and then they found out about see, the only sad thing about that situation was like if you take Bickle's contract, okay, cool, we got plenty of room for it, and then we found out why he wasn't playing well anymore.
But that was very unfortunate.
It was. That was a beautiful ending to his career too. That penalty shot or the
scored.
Yeah. I did a little bit too because I was like, that was really cool. What a way to end it. The fact that he got to, score on that in that shootout. But yeah, it's like I wonder what he's up to nowadays. I think he's working for the Hawks, isn't he?
He might be. I know he's part of a campaign that is fighting against MS, which is what he was diagnosed with. So
yeah, because that's very yeah, because
man, that was such a great story.
It was. That was. I hate that his career ended that way, but I'm glad that he got to at least have a storybook ending with it.
Yep.
And they're making a lot of medical advancements when it comes to MS. So it's like, I think that by the time that he's older, he'll be able to like live a lot longer than people were previously, which will be really cool.
Yeah, definitely. Here's my question to you. What do you think were the best moments when comparing the two? Brian Bickle or David Ayers?
Oh, I'm gonna have to go with Bickle just because of the circumstances that he was met with health wise. That's the
I'm going
biggest
with
reason.
Bickle too. Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, David Ayers is a great feel good story. I kind of hate that like Disney is making a movie about him. So for reasons I've aforementioned, if I have my way, I would like for the Miracle thing to be done again, but not by Disney. And I want it to not be a movie. I want it to be a mini series, and I want it to be based off the book Boys of Winter, because Disney nerfed a lot of the language and stuff that actually occurred in that whole event. I want it to be told in more of a mature adult type of manner, that story. And it can't be done in a 2.5-hour Disney movie.
No, but I will admit that's probably my favorite sports movie of all time.
Oh, it's mine too.
Movie.
Yeah, let's see. Miracle is probably, let's see. Hockey-wise, Miracle is definitely my favorite one. Slapshot, I
actually really liked The Greatest Game Ever Played, but that was like more of a golf movie.
As far, let's see, I'm trying to think of like there's not a ton of really good hockey movies. That's the only like downside of it and everything.
I liked the first. I know it's a cheesy movie, but I liked the first Mighty Ducks movie. After that, I didn't like the others, but I liked the first one a lot.
I could never get into those. Even when I was a kid, I was kind of like, that's not how pucks fly.
It's cheesy. It really is. But honestly, if you look past that, if you're able to, I think it's a good story.
Yeah, it's just hard for me to get past that. But then again, it's like I'm an airplane nerd. Yeah, I'm an airplane nerd, and yet some of my favorite movies are some of the most unrealistic ones about it, like Top Gun.
Like, oh, I love Top Gun.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've got the poster for it over there, and then the reason there's a space on the wall to the left of it is that's where the Top Gun Maverick poster is going to go. I just haven't decided which one I want. I don't know if I want the actual movie poster or the one of him standing on the P-51 with the F-18s flying by. I haven't decided which one I want yet, but eventually that's going to go there. And I got some other stuff that I'm going to put up over there too, but then I've got my Stadium Series poster back there, and then that wood piece right there, and underneath that license plate, that's the signatures of all the inaugural Fayetteville Fire Ants players. So that's like one of my prized possessions. I got that put in a case immediately when I went home and got it. So,
I don't know if you saw when you came over, but I have a case to Ray Whitney jersey with all the Stanley Cup names.
It was leaned up against the breakfast bar still, but I saw that and I was like, damn, the Wizard. I hadn't heard that name in a while.
Love the player. I love Ray Whitney.
He was like our Pavel Datsyuk, basically, which is funny because they wore the same number. He was our Pavel Datsyuk. And before anybody goes off, I'm not saying that he was as good as him. I'm just saying like he was that type of player for us. I mean, there were very few people that were as good as Pavel Datsyuk.
Yeah. And actually, I can turn my camera over, but that is a picture of the
Stadium
Series framed. So
that is cool. I like those big panoramic pictures like that. But yeah, no, one day we'll just do an episode where we just show off all of our memorabilia that we all have.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I got all kinds of cool stuff here. Like my girlfriend got me these coasters right here. This is actually like one of my prized possessions. And she was like, "Wait, are these pucks?" I'm like, "Yeah, it used to be pucks, and they just cut them up and like print stuff on them to make them and everything," which I thought was really cool. And still 1-1. I got to hand Evan Bouchard one thing. I used to talk all kinds of shit about the defensive aspect of his game. He has come a long way.
No, he is a great defenseman.
Yeah, his defensive aspect needed some work, but like he's like Max Pacioretty on defense though. Like he's got a cannon of a shot. The velocity on that thing is freaking ridiculous.
Yep.
3:50 remaining in the first period, and Florida just iced it. So let's see if Edmonton does anything on this offensive zone draw here. All right, we'll go through some more of the comments here. BTS says, I made an NHL 23 team, and the name is San Francisco Retros, and the jerseys are yeah, send me a picture of it, bud. I'd like to see that. My friend has parts of the carpet from when we won the cup. Oh, that's cool.
Can I say one thing about EA games? EA NHL games. here's the thing. I like hockey.
Mhm.
That's why I play them. I don't
Mhm.
play them for the reason that they're good.
Mhm.
Because I feel like they've gone downhill every year.
They have. So, like, I remember this from, like, NHL 14, I wanna say it was. So, my favorite mode to play back then was Be a Pro. I love that mode.
Mhm.
It also appealed to my hockey gear nerdism. So, that was one of my favorite things about it because I'm like, "Oh, cool, this is the exact same helmet I wear in real life. These are the exact same gloves and skates I wear in real life," and all that type of shit. And that game actually had so much detail to it that you could choose the curve of your stick, the hollow of your skates, and stuff like that. It was so detailed. The interviews that you did in them, where you answered questions from the press, like it was like a pre-made dialogue and everything, where you just press a button to pick which one. But like it was just so well refined of a game,
Oh
and
yeah.
it just habitually went downhill. One of the first videos I ever made on here was like if I could make an alternative to like the NHL games, how I would go about it. I think one of the first things that would be really cool is if they tried to make a college hockey video game, because that's what they're doing with the football games now. And from everyone I've talked to about the new college football game, absolutely love it. They say it's not Madden. And I'm like, okay, that's a good thing. So I would love to see something like that where maybe they like, okay, you can't use the NHL without licensing. Okay, fine. Even though it's not exclusive to EA, if somebody else wanted to make a game like that and fight the monopoly, they could. It's like, but maybe you get the NCAA to throw stuff in, get the SPHL to throw stuff in, get the NAHL to throw stuff in, and then next thing you know, you have some sort of a game, some sort of alternative. My biggest problem with it is having to buy a new game every year. I
Yeah.
don't like paying $60 for a damn roster update. And then not to mention my favorite mode, Be a Pro, I had to start over every year. I got tired of doing that. So I
Yeah.
just stopped buying them.
Again, I play just because I like hockey. That's it.
Yeah.
Not because
I mean,
it's good.
I guess that's part of the reason why I'm okay with not having it is because like I get to play hockey in real life. So that's why I relegate my gaming time to flying fighter jets and driving race cars because I can't do that in real life.
Mm,
So
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest reason why I'm okay with not being able to do it. But eventually when I'm like gonna have to take a long break from playing, like if I ever like break my leg or something, then I would probably play NHL again at that point. I've still got 21 in there. I just barely touched it. I just didn't like it very much. Oh, Kachuk went for his patented little coming from below the goal line move that he likes to do, the power move to the front of the net.
Yeah. And I mean, it's a game, so it gives you something to do if you're like, I just feel like doing this or something.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a good game by any means.
Mm-hmm.
Helps pass the time.
Dude,
Helps.
I like these. That color scheme is really good. Wish I had a way to show these on here. BTS sent me these jerseys he made in NHL 24, and they look really damn good.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I wish I had a way to just pull them up here. Actually, let me see. I could do the share screen thing. Hold on a second. Yeah, I'll do that. It's going to be annoying, but I'll do it. I don't know if you can see that or not.
I don't
Oh, it didn't
see
show it? Okay.
anything. No.
Yeah. Never mind. But I'll show them off one of those days. Like, he did really good on those.
Oh, nice. Not bad. But yeah, I have a huge issue with the current EA games.
Yeah, that's why I really wish we could just, like, I don't know if you
There's
want to
no
call it.
competition
Mhm.
like 2K was, and
Mhm.
they need to get, honestly, with how many college players are coming out, to me, that is the number one thing.
Mhm.
Get that licensing agreement in place so you can put these NCAA players into the NHL game.
Yeah, that would be cool because you can only get the ones from juniors right now. So, it's
Yes.
like, no, that would be really cool.
Now, if it was like that 10 years ago, then that whole agreement thing between NCAA and NHL, okay, I could care less. But
Yeah.
now that is the way to go.
Yes, absolutely, it is now.
So many players are being drafted from college.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty. Let's see. How long do I have? I got about another 15 minutes, and I got to start laying down and thinking about going to sleep and everything. Because I'm going to watch a little bit more of this, but I got to be up really, really early. But I do appreciate everybody coming in and everything like that. We just kind of had some fun and talked about stuff and everything. We'll wait about 10 more minutes, see if anybody has anything else to say or anything like that. The Slavin video is coming along. I'm going to try and premiere part 1 by Sunday. I'm on the hardest part right now, which is the narration. Everything else on it is done. So as soon as that's done, then. But yeah, no, it was cool just to kind of do a hangout stream and everything. I've never done one like this. We've always had some sort of an agenda when we've done one. And today I'm like, yeah, you know what? Hell with it. We'll jump on here and just talk about stuff.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to see like what happens with like anything though, because I'm kind of ready for something to go down, because every time I turn around, it's a new trade rumor here, new this, new that. I just kind of want it to be over with at this point.
I just want the whole Nacho saga to end. That's my thing.
I'm really going to laugh my ass off if we just sign him. Yeah, either sign him or trade him. Let's get it over with.
Please. And it seems like, honestly, I mean, looking back, especially at last year's offseason, it seems like there's more of an urgency to trade Natchez than there was with Pesce.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and see, that's what's weird to me, because like they had a deal in place for Pesce with Nashville, and then it fell through at the last minute for whatever reason. That I don't know if you've heard anything about why it went down that way, but I don't. Oh, hey,
I don't know.
We're gonna keep going.
Who is this guy?
I don't know,
This
man.
is Sniff and Sam.
Oh yeah,
remember the Sam that I told you about?
Yeah,
yeah. Snips in the microphone,
the one who showed
everything.
The one who showed up with his dog and all of his things one day to your apartment and still hasn't left.
She's still
that's Sam.
Yeah, mine's hiding underneath a little
dog
blanket.
Roam around our studio, living room studio, whatever you call it. Like, good lord.
I'm waiting on AB to show back up and hear shit-faced drunk. I know that it's coming. I'm waiting on it.
I got.
I'll tell you what. You guys hold down the audience. I'm gonna make myself one. You know what? I'm good with staying on for a little longer. I can care.
It's the Stanley Cup final. You got to have a drink tonight.
I will call out of work tomorrow if I have to. Again, I already did it yesterday, so I got to be there all weekend any goddamn way. So.
Well,
I already had me a storm brew.
Well, you know, it's a great game so far. I watched the first period, Sam. I think Florida was the better team. I don't know if you've caught any of it. Bobrovsky probably should have stopped the breakaway from Janmark, but if Bobrovsky can hold down the fort, I don't see why Florida can't win. I think they've been very good this game.
Yeah. And since we have the floor, if you guys that are watching us have not heard of the Caniac Report, listen to it. It's great.
Yes, we've
you
had
to hear the favorite Sam Wallace.
Yes, we've had our wonderful Brandon, host of this lovely channel, on multiple times. We love him coming on. It's always a fun.
We need to get Brandon back on the pod. Maybe we can do that on Friday's episode thing.
Yes, we'll have to ask him when he gets here, because that is what you want to do. You want to get guests on. We want to talk about all the excitement that's coming down, because there's a lot of exciting things. So if you haven't listened to our latest episode as well, we talked about the free agency
and the draft.
Yeah, and the draft, to the biggest things that are going down this week. I mean, whoever wins the Stanley Cup gets 4 days to enjoy it before you start. Decisions have to be made.
Yeah, and remember, it's 48 hours after the cup is announced that that buyout window opens. So don't forget about that. We might have a buyout coming. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I hope it is with KK. That's my hope.
I don't know. I see a doggy.
Yes, you do.
That is a little dust bunny. Hopefully, I see this. Brandon can hear me or not. I'll say it again when
he's putting his headset on.
Did you hear what I called the dog?
Rat.
A dust bunny.
I'm going to use that. You've got another nickname now. So for those of you not familiar, this is Butters. This is the thing that sounds like a squealing tire sometimes in the background of some of our videos because you have to bark at things that aren't actually there. Weirdo. Now, Desiree was going to join us, but she's already asleep. She had to get up way earlier than I did today. So,
what are you doing?
I was talking to Sam. Right, Sam?
Yeah. I was talking to Sam about the Stanley Cup final because I wanted to jump in at least during intermission and chat, and I can do, and however long you're on, I can hop in during intermissions. But
yeah, that's fine.
I thought Florida was the better team. I think Bobrovsky needs to have a save on the breakaway goal that he allowed, but great game. This is what you want from a Game 7. You want some good action, and you want it to be a good game because it's Game 7, and it should be.
Yeah. No, that's what I was talking about a little bit earlier. It seems like Bobrovsky, if he's not like up to game stealing standards, the team in front of him is not the same. It's just.
And Florida played great. They were outstanding in that period. They had a lot of good opportunities. I mean, it's just the one best opportunity Edmonton have ended up in the back of the net. And that can't happen when you're playing as good as you are.
What do y'all think of that one?
No.
That's
three old players.
No.
Zuccarello's
old.
I got to say no to that
old,
one, too.
Goligoski's old. I don't want 3 old players.
Well, you know, guys, we know who we actually need. This one right here. He'll get it done for us.
I see a 40-goal scorer right there.
Yeah, and he'll never take penalties because they'll be like, you go to the – oh, I can't make him go to the box. He's too adorable.
Yeah,
this dog's a piece of shit.
We're talking bad about your species, Penny.
I don't think that like they would qualify to be in the same species. Like Penny's not as removed from her ancestors, and neither is Frank. Is this?
I mean,
this is basically a cat.
Let's see. There she is.
Aw. Yeah, this is basically a cat right here.
And yes, I am wearing a black dog.
There's a dog that runs around in our studio.
And I'm wearing a Blackhawks t-shirt because
there's my big one crawling out of the.
It's a vintage one. I had a couple of old t-shirts from like teams. I had a Dustin Brown t-shirt at one time.
Oh wow! No, I've got a few like little things like that in my collection too. I've got the Vancouver Canucks jersey that's just a rectangle with the stick in the middle. I think that's the coolest thing ever, and I've got one of those when they first started doing the NHL retro stuff. All right, go play with your brother.
You gotta look at one of the comments.
That one?
Yes, I am. I'm wearing a Blackhawks t-shirt. It's a retro. I like old stuff.
Just don't start being one of those weirdos that like post stuff about. I wonder what type of toothpaste Connor Bedard uses. No, bro. Some of those people are okay. They're fucking weird. Like there was one guy, and this was one of the Barstool guys that said this. It's like he said, "I wonder what Connor Bedard is up to right now." I'm like, "What the fuck do you spend your time doing?" Like, if y'all ever hear me say some shit like, "Dear Diary, I wonder what Sebastian Aho is doing. Does he really like to eat duck, or did he just say that on the camera to try and be funny?" I want you to slap the shit out of me if I ever start doing any fucking thing like that. You have my full and complete permission. Take that chihuahua right there and throw him in my face just as hard as you can, because he's actually got kind of a hard head for a chihuahua. Just chuck him right at me.
That actually, for whatever reason, reminds me. We want to extend to you as well if you would like to pop on our episode this Friday.
Friday. What am I doing on Friday? We
record
what time?
Thursday, right?
Oh, we episode will release on Friday. So
Thursday I can do. Yeah, I can absolutely do that.
And that might even be good for you, Sam, because it's very possible I might get stuck with a family engagement Thursday afternoon.
Ew. That's
really? Oh,
yeah.
I'm fine with that.
My mom's sister's coming into town, so I might not have a choice but to.
Yeah. The original guest we tried to get on, haven't heard back from him, so.
Not yet, but I'm sure we'll get him on at some point.
Yeah, he's busy. So.
Let's see. But looks like he commented again about my Blackhawks apparent fandom.
Remember, this is the Blackhawks fan that has told me that if the Chicago Blackhawks won the draft lottery again, he would think that the lottery is automatically rigged.
Yes.
Well, did he hear what I said that when we were talking about like if Gensel was going to go to the Blackhawks, like it's been one of the million rumors that have been out there, and I said, that's the second best case scenario because one, he's going out west, and two, he's going to a team that we won't see in the Stanley Cup Finals because by the time that their window opens, ours is going to be well closed, like not the one we just came out of, but our new one. And I was like, if any time in the next 4 seasons the Carolina Hurricanes and Chicago Blackhawks face each other in the Stanley Cup Finals, I will eat my fucking hat right here on this live stream.
I think that window would have opened a little sooner for them if they had won this year. And yes, the Blackhawks won the draft lottery this year. I would have said it's rigged all day, rigged every day. It's rigged, fake news, all rigged. But
if it's rigged, then why did the Hurricanes win in 2018?
Yeah, they got to deal with Tom Dundon. Buy the team, we'll give you the second round overall pick.
Bro,
don't give me that answer.
Bro, I'm going to be real with you. That year, I was like, what are we going to do with our mid of the fucking 10s draft or whatever it was that we would have had? And then we found out we were going to be drafting in the top 3 overall. It was kind of like, and then Dundon buys and this is after Dundon bought the team. And I'm like, Did this motherfucker slide some money to Gary Bettman underneath the table and say, hey, look, you want this franchise to turn around, right? You think this is a good market, right? Now, I'm just saying if something like that did happen, I'm not saying that it did. I'm just saying if something like that did happen, it is a hell of a coincidence, and it kind of wouldn't surprise me.
It wouldn't surprise me, but I don't think that happened. Heck,
I don't think it did either.
They released the ball drawing right before.
You go from Jonathan Toews, Patrick Kane to Celebrini and Bedard. You're telling me that shit's not rigged? I'm going to tell you, you were wrong, sir.
Yeah.
You cannot. That is called the most luckiest lucky you could ever get to go Celebrini, Bedard. From before was Kane, Toews. That's just ridiculous.
It might have backfired too because look at Edmonton when they were the draft dynasty.
They're in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals now, so
they are now, but. All those guys that they drafted back then, first overall, there's only one of them on this team. I take that back too.
We got
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and Connor McDavid.
His Draisaitl was a late pick, I believe.
He was fourth. Yeah, and that was I don't know if I should talk about this, but I still remember being kind of appalled by it when I saw it. So back then, you could tweet stuff at NHL Network, and they would put it in the little runner on the bottom, and they were talking about possible nicknames for Draisaitl. I won't repeat what it was, but you guys probably saw it, what one of them was. I'm like, yo, did you never take a history class? Why would you put that there?
I don't think I must not have saw it.
Hold up.
Oh, no, he was third, actually. My bad.
Oh, he was third? Okay, I knew he was not first, but I knew he was, high first-round pick. And, for a while,
Yeah, he was drafted right behind Aaron Ekblad, Sam Reinhart, and he was drafted above Sam Bennett.
Wow, okay, a lot of those guys are
so
in the
all
Stanley
four
Cup
of those
Finals.
guys are in the Stanley Cup Finals right now.
Jeez.
Holy shit. I didn't even think about
Sam
that.
What would have been funny is, and I guess Boston beat us to it, is if we did a huge blockbuster Natchez deal right before puck drop. But I guess Boston was like, you know what? No, that's for us. We're going to do a big blockbuster deal.
Yeah.
I know you guys, you, Brandon, didn't like it. I feel like it was a trade that they had to make.
I think it's a win-win, possibly. For both teams.
Changed my opinion on it based on what you said, Sam Wallace, when we talked about it. Because at first I'm like, wow, fleece. But then you kind of gave me some thought provocation. I'm like, you know what? That's actually kind of a good hockey trade.
Yeah, I liked the deal as well. I thought, they got a first-round pick. Awesome. He's an older goalie. They got a backup goalie for Swayman. Cool, Swayman's your guy. You don't need a guy who's going to split. Korpisalo gets a chance to kind of revitalize his career. All Mark's going to go and be the guy. Yeah, he's going to be the guy in Ottawa, and they need a goalie. And that team's good, and they were probably missing the guy in that. So, yeah, it benefits everyone. Boston gets a decent first-round pick, do they not?
It's
25th overall.
It
could be worse.
And it's this year's draft, so it's they're getting whatever the impact is of that player, they'll have it sooner than if they drafted someone next year or the year after. So,
yeah,
it all kind of works out.
It's a decent deal. It's definitely not awful. They probably would have gotten more if they worked with us. Nate just probably would have been involved in that deal. But my guess is we don't want Allmark. Otherwise, that would have happened. So, and it doesn't sound like Allmark's or Boston was a team that they were in on. It's Nashville, Montreal, and Seattle. And again, like I plugged before, if you want to listen to what we think that deal could look like with those teams, listen to our episodes. So.
Oh, and then that reminds me of another thing I wanted to talk about earlier in the show, but I forgot about it because I didn't come into this with any structure. It was just kind of like, let's just hop on here and enjoy the last game of the season. Brett Pesce to New Jersey, potentially. What do y'all think of that?
Second time they took a defenseman of ours. I don't know where they're
getting
getting the money.
Didn't work out very well last time.
I don't know where they're getting the money.
Actually, third time, because Dougie Hamilton and Brendan Smith.
If they get Pesce, it's either going to be $5 or $6 million, and it's going to be 7 years. And that's why the deal gets done, is the term. We don't want to give him that long term because Pesce's not going to last 7 years. He's going to last 3, maybe 4 years, right? And that last year of a 5-year deal would be the problem. But if they give him a 7-year contract, dude's going to wash up before that, especially on a team where there's no defensive structure. I mean, they need it. If I'm Toronto, I try and offer him more money, though, because they need him more than New Jersey. But I agree with Sam Wallace, though, with the Devils. They need a goalie more than anything. And now they made a deal for the goalie, I believe, did they not? So,
yeah, they got Markstrom.
Yeah, Markstrom.
So they got the goalie fixed. Maybe Pesce they view as a fix on their blue line. But, I mean, that would, I think, help them out a lot. I mean, Pesce going to the Devils, it just sucks to be in the Metro.
Well, the other weird thing about it to me with Pesce and everything, I was talking about this earlier. In our circle, amongst Carolina Hurricanes fans, we've talked about Brett Pesce extensively. And he's gotten his fair share of recognition and praise over the years being in our organization. Now, all of a sudden, that he's potentially going to a quote-unquote traditional market or a big market, if that's what you want to refer to New Jersey as, suddenly people want to talk about him. And people want to talk about how good he is. Suddenly, that discussion wants to be had, but they never had it in regards to how good he was with us. A lot of the points that Brady Shea put up was because of Brett Pesce being his safety valve, like Slavin has done for Burns, Tony, and Dougie. So that's the thing that annoys me about it. I've always praised how good he is, but I also know the injuries are piling up for him. He's lost a little bit of a step. So it's like you're saying, he's not going to play for 7 years probably. Not effectively.
I wouldn't give him 5 or 6.
See, what Carolina offered him at the time, I thought was fair, 5x5. I thought that was fine.
If Jacob Slavin is going to indeed take 6.5, and Brett Pesce goes out there and gets 7 or 8, at that point it's just like at that point, my opinion on Pesce is going to change a little bit. Because I'm like, really, dude, you're the guy who came into the league who's better than you, took less. So whatever that 6.5, if that's the number, again, if that is the actual number that Slavin signs, and Pesce goes out to the market and gets more, I don't blame the player for getting paid, but at the same time, I'm like, you couldn't do that.
Well, see, he also that's an interesting point because he expressed the desire to stay here.
And he said he would take less. I think he actually said that. So I'm like, okay, there's Slavin's number. We know we've offered you 5. You're not getting more than Slavin. Why aren't you going to take 5x5?
5x5 would have been great for Pesce. I wouldn't have complained about that at all.
No,
I still wouldn't.
I like the trade proposal in the comments, by the way.
Yeah, I'll pull that up. Yeah, anytime you guys want something pulled up in the comments, let me know and I'll do it.
I do this. I think it's a tad bit of an overpayment, but you get a young goalie. And I think that's not a bad thing. Then it could be the Kochetkov and Melka show, and I think that works.
Yeah, and you guys have heard my opinions on Kirill Vejmelka. I really like him. That's with me not knowing as much about goalies as you and AB do. But, I really like Kirill Vejmelka. I think he's pretty underrated. I think that would be a good 1A, 1B situation with Kochetkov. And back when we were wondering if Freddie was going to come back, one of the guys I was saying we should try to target and trade is Vejmelka.
Yeah, so, I was saying the same thing. I liked Vejmelka. I thought he was a guy you could pry for a little cheap because Ingram was the guy.
Yep.
I'm going to hop off for the period and go watch the second. And if y'all are still live, I'll hop back on.
I'm probably gonna head off too. So
yeah, I think I'm gonna call it a night here in a little bit because like I'm just gonna have me one of these right here and watch the end of the season. Then I'm gonna get up at 4 in the morning and go hit the assault bike again because I did that I did that this morning for a good 30 minutes.
Well,
so,
if you want to hop on right
see you
after, I
guys.
wouldn't mind hopping on for 15, 20.
Okay. Yeah, we could maybe do that. Text me and I'll let you know.
All right, sounds good. All right, see
buddy.
you guys, everyone. Thanks for having me as always.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll see you guys on Thursday night.
Sounds good.
All right, buddy. All right, cool. Anthony says, "Great vid, boys." Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate all you guys joining us and everything. Like I said, not really a plan for a structured show here. It was more of like just kind of hop on and hang out during Game 7 because this is the last game of the season. So it's just kind of hanging out and looking and seeing what's going on here. Oh, pretty good defensive play there by Verhage. All right. But yeah, I think I'm going to hop off of here. I will record with Caniac Report. That's the two guys that you just saw on Thursday night, and we will go from there. Anthony, good to see you, buddy. I'll make it down there to skate with you before too much longer, pal. As soon as I'm back from vacation and I get the surgery done, then I'll be able to make it down there sometime after that. But everybody, thank you for joining me. Really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. You won't see much from me over the course of the next couple of weeks, but after that, I'll be back to doing stuff. So y'all take care. I'll see you next time.